He's a guy that's very competitive. He wants to win. He wants to make his family proud and, where he come from. He wants to make those guys proud, so I think he's going to do some big things for us.
My story and my journey just getting here today, to some people they might think it was easy, but it's just a lot of little things that happened along that journey that was tough at times, just being in the city.
He has a real life story of some struggles at a young age, not of his own doing, but just circumstances.
Just growing up in South Philly, I say so many things going on that just attracts violence and things that you might not want to get yourself caught in. Just seeing some stuff at an early age, I kind of had an idea what certain things could lead to, so I always try to stay positive and stay out the way of others who weren't doing the best things. So my commute to Martin Luther King from South Philly, my freshman year and my sophomore year, it was 2 buses and the Brill Street line, so it was anywhere from like an hour to an hour and 30. I left out so early, I usually travel by myself. Being in West Oak Lane, it was just a different part of the city, so I'll be away from South Philly where a lot of the negative things was going on in my backyard. I switched from Martin Luther King to Newman Goretti just because it was closer to home, better education system, and ultimately I wanted to be in competition with other players who was in the Catholic League.
Playing in the Catholic League is tough, and being one of the best teams, winning a Catholic League championship, that's hard to do. And he was one of the better players on that team. And I think for a guy like Hysier growing up in South Philly, being around a lot of things that could, potentially take him down a wrong path, basketball was, an outlet, an escape for him to sort of, separate, himself from the streets, from the violence and the things that, goes on in the inner city community. In a way, it saved his life.
When I played basketball, I just been in a whole different mindset. It's kind of like made me who I am today. And I always like to look at basketball as bigger than the game. It just gave me an opportunity, and it always kept me out of trouble and allowed me to grow. It made me start thinking bigger than who I was.
You saw all those qualities, growing up in those tough neighborhoods, and he portrayed that out on the court.
Obviously, his ability is what, drew us to watching him, his ability to shoot the ball, his ability to be able to transport the ball, handle the ball, and make others better. But just watching him, how he interacted with his coaches, how he interacted with his teammates, he's a great teammate, and he has a quiet demeanor about him. He's a confident kid, and I like confident individuals, and he was that.
Recruiting Hysier, it was special. I think, playing at home, really was something special for him to play in front of his family. And I think just the Temple brand. I think, obviously with Coach McKee being here, playing here, I think Fade really wanted to learn and be a part of that.
Growing up, I did watch plenty of Temple games. This was actually the first college basketball game I ever came to see was Temple. Coming to Temple, it was always just more than what I always imagined. At one point in time, I didn't know I was gonna go to college. Just being in Philly, that's not always an option for most people.
It's great that he could make shots on the basketball court, but at the end of the day, the character that he shows and he gives every single day is truly what we appreciate about him and having him in the program. He cares about his education, his family, his community.
For kids in my neighborhood, I would just want them to just have an opportunity to see that there's bigger things outside of where you're from that you can achieve, and it's more than life and just what you're used to seeing every day. The biggest thing for me is just paying it forward, because somebody did it for me. If I could just be that guy to give back to 5 kids, 10 kids, it don't matter how many, just be that helping hand, then that's the shoes I want to fill. Just being in Philly, you gotta lead by example, and that's something I always did. If I see somebody going in the wrong direction, I always just go in the right direction, and I'll try to bring others along.
You're gonna get knocked down, right? Plenty of times. You're gonna face some adversity. Things aren't gonna go your way at times. But for a kid like him, right, he never quit. He never stopped believing. Because if he did, he wouldn't be here.
The statistics will say that a kid like him that comes from his environment don't really have much of an opportunity to be successful at anything. But I remind him every day, I'm just like you. And I'm here as the head coach of my alma mater at Temple University, and I was able to defy the odds, and I want him to do the same thing.